Tonight I'm going to talk about fundamental trading. This video is a short video on fundamental trading. First of all, what I'm looking for in a graph is something that's more or less where the graph is horizontal. Like this graph here, it's flat. The only problem I find with trading fire runes though is that I can never seem to sell any or buy any at 1 GP. So I'm actually looking for items that are above about 30 GP. That gives me a little bit more ability to play with the price. Let's just get there first of all. Okay, now the best way to find fundamental items. Now, what we're looking for is items that form a part of the value chain, and particularly things that are consumed in the game. So maple logs are turned into maple bows, and then the maple bows are generally ouched. But probably the best thing to look at is the most traded items. So let's have a quick look. I've just clicked on the more here, and that'll bring us up the top 100 most traded items. Now, like I said before, I've had trouble trading the fire runes and air runes to make a profit. The first one that you know it works for me a lot of the time is maple logs. Now, just on this chart at the moment, it's gone up from 44 to 45, so it doesn't really quite meet my criteria at the moment. If you look at the longer term graph for maple logs, it's been just gradually going up. So I still trade fundamentally in this, but just at the moment I'm not in maple logs. So let's go back to this list, this top 100. Okay, now the top 100, you can see, you can just get an idea of the volume of the number of things that have been sold. In the last month, there's been almost 2 billion fire runes traded on the Grand Exchange. In the last 30 days, 987, almost 1 billion maple logs. We're talking fairly large numbers here. So let's have a look at pure essence. What's the price? Now, while pure essence is a good item, I wonder whether this stock actually meets my criteria for a fundamental stock, for a fundamental trade. I'm looking for something that's flat. This is not flat. In fact, if you look here, you can see there's a very clear buy signal right here. So if you're watching the price come down, once you see the crossover there, you'd be saying, okay, that's a buy. It still hasn't caught up. The 5 days still hasn't caught up with the daily average. But let's just stay focused. Let's just stay focused looking for a fundamental stock to trade. Nature runes and flax. I'm going to skip over the iron arrows because I know that the price of those is below my 30 GP cutoff. Okay, once again there's a turn there. The price has gone up and it's just turned. It's crossing. That's telling me that's a sell signal. So that is not a fundamental trade right now. Nature rune. So let's look at flax. Once again, that's not a fundamental trade because the value of flax is going up. In fact, that's a moderate buy trend. Pose string. Okay. Yes, there is a little bit of variation on this graph here. You can see it's going up between 175 and 172. But really that's not a lot this change in value, you see that it's trading between a very narrow range. You could more or less say that this is a flat graph. If you look across, let's just make sure we're in the 30-day. And yes, it's 30 days. Okay. So if we're looking at this stock, we know that the average sale price yesterday was, and remember these graphs are 1 day behind. They're not real-time graphs. Okay, so yesterday the price was 172, and that's the average price. Remember, all of these graphs are average, which means, see, the minimum was 165 and maximum 181. On that day, there would have been some buyers and sells above and below the average. So let's just flick over to the Grand Exchange trading area, and I'll type in bowstring. Now let's just flick back to the graph. It looks like to me, just looking at the long-term average there, that the price sort of hovers around 172. So let's see what the average price is at 173. So what I'm going to be looking for is about a 5% margin. So I'm going to buy at about 2.5% below and sell at about 2.5% above. So let's go. So 173 times 0.025, so it's 2.5 below. Well, that'll give me, okay, so I need to take off 4 GP, 4 or 5. Okay, let's take 4. So 173 less 4 is 169, and that's going to be my buy price. So when you start off, obviously, if I have, here's my money. Remember, we divide the money up into about 4 or 5. So let's just take 86 divided by 5, 17. Okay, so I'm going to buy 17.2 mil, and divided by 169 equals times 1,000, 100k. Okay. There we go. So there's my order. I've put in an order for 100k of bowstrings. So that can just sit there. I think it's a bit low. Let's look at death runes. Okay, it's nice and flat. So that's a fundamental. Okay, so we've got death runes 304. So its current price is 302. My ideal price will be 302 times 0.25. So take off about 7 off the price. So that'll be 295. Okay, so I'll do 17 divided by 295. Okay, so say 60k. I'll get 60k.